Yo. Okay.
Attention, please.
Yo. 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 Yo.
Welcome to your inspirational astrology horoscope for the weekend of Saturday and Sunday, April 12th through the 13th, 2025. I'm Astrologer Dave Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, thanks so much for being a part of HighVibe.tv. If you are not on HighVibe.tv, make sure that you become a member now, of course, to get all my daily videos and, of course, all the shows that we do on HighVibe.tv. You can check it out on our apps, HighVibe TV, or of course the website highvibe.tv. Well, I'm coming to you and wishing you the best on this full moon in Libra that's going to be in a yod with Venus that's stationing direct 44 minutes after it in Pisces, that's conjuncting Saturn, the North Node. You could add Mercury there, although Mercury's coming to the end of Pisces, and what's forming this yacht is that nice sextile from those planets over to Uranus and Taurus, which are both creating that yacht up to that full moon in Libra. Well, at the same time, that full moon this weekend is going to be in direct opposition exactly as the moon is apexing in opposition to the sun while it's in conjunction to Chiron. Now, how weird, in 2024, we had that total solar eclipse conjunct Chiron in Aries. Now, it was 2 weeks ago that we just had that solar eclipse. It was not total in Aries, the last one of this cycle. But now we have a full moon, not an eclipse, but it's an exact opposition as the sun's conjuncting Chiron. So 2024, 2025, both years where we are having the lunar cycle, a new moon total solar eclipse, and now just a full moon. But it's not just a basic full moon. It's in Yod, and Venus, which of course is the ruler of Libra, and it is in Pisces where it's exalted, but it's stuck with Saturn for a long time here, finally stationing direct as this full moon stays at 23 degrees, but 44 actual time minutes after the apex of this full moon. This is what we've been waiting for, because all planets will finally all be stationed direct, although it's not going to be like most years when we get that for a long period of time. Pluto is, of course, in Aquarius, and it's already at 3.5 degrees, and we're about to see this Pluto station retrograde at the end of this month. So really, if I count the 5 days there was when all planets were direct, right when Mars stationed direct, it was Venus stationing retrograde. If you count that 5 days, so I think this 22 days we're going to be in here, it's almost like a week saw us all planets direct year. But this is the full moon that reminds me of what we're moving into. This Aries Neptune that we've finally seen make its ingress at 0 degree. We have Mercury that's starting to conjunct that. It's intercepted, of course, because of the fact that Mercury's in Pisces, but we're within a couple degrees here. It's about these big outer planets shifting. It's about this real kind of goodbye as well to Uranus and Taurus, which Saturn has been nice sextile and will be in sextile even when Uranus ingresses into Gemini in July, and when Saturn ingresses into Aries in May, and I think on the 26th, and then July 7th, Uranus in Gemini. So we're going to see the Saturn-Uranus sextile, and this brings us back to 2021 when they were in square. Hence, I said, experiments gone bad. Now this is where you're seeing everything pop out in the world of what 2020, 2021, all the stuff that really was what I was saying and some others were saying was Do not follow all this bullshit out there. It's all going to go bad. Hence the jab and all those kind of things. And even the idea of wearing a mask and staying 6 feet apart was all bad science, right? Well, now we're in the sextile. It's really about moving forward. Saturn likes, to accomplish its goals. It's in Pisces, but the Saturn on top of Venus as it's stationing direct is saying, let's cut out the bullshit from your patterns, your past cycles. And yes, Venus deals with relationships, especially this one with a full moon in Libra. And so we really are letting go of the relationship energies that really don't align spiritually in our lives. It's also us letting go of the value systems and those things we attach to in our imaginations and our dreams that they're not getting us to a place that is even higher than we even can see. So in many ways, we have to let go of what we think is the ultimate dream because it's probably just a regurgitated one, either from something that came in a very Pisces way, subconsciously through the media or through social media or from your religions or whatever, and actually let go in order to see something bigger. That's what I'm seeing this Uranus energy in Taurus with. And this full moon is also in direct opposition to Chiron in the sun. It's time for us to balance the scales, especially when it comes to embodying who we are and accepting who we are. We don't have to try to be something we're not. We don't have to also try and do more than we can even do or push too hard to try and prove ourselves. We're out of the Capricorn Pluto transit. We're out of all this energy that really, in many ways, proved to all of us in a weird kind of irony way that you don't need to prove yourself so much in life. You don't have to keep going after the thing that doesn't want you back in life. Or go after the thing that you think will make you whole, when really it's about finding that wholeness within. We see Mars, of course, coming near the end of Cancer. It's in trine to this Mercury. It's been in trine for all week, but it's on this full moon in trine to Mercury. It's on a separating trine, but we've got it also trining the North Node, starting its separating trine. But this Mars still has not come back into Leo yet to oppose Pluto. And so this is also an interesting full moon because the Mars transit is in square to this Sun Chiron and to this full moon. And so how do we take care of ourselves better in our life? We have to identify with what's the best for us emotionally, what's going to make sure that we're not going to be doing anything that allows us to settle on things that really emotionally aren't good for us and aren't spiritually good for us and aren't spiritually good for others, aren't spiritually good for you continuing to do the same pattern, whether it's people pleasing, whether it's, being somebody that you're not, living a life that's actually alive within yourself, or following what the herd is doing. And I look at this as where there's a difference between us coming together as a collective and all being in the herd. I think that this is one where it's collectively, we have to understand we all have different values and we all have to look at it from a balanced place. We have to be empathetic. It's Pisces, Venus, stationing direct, but it's with Saturn there. So it's be empathetic to a point. What the problem of Neptune and Pisces has been since 2011 has been where you've seen empathy go too far. You've seen sensitivity go too far. So whether it's, freaking out because you see something on a documentary and you change your whole diet. Trust me, I know a lot of people who did that. There's some parts of that that's true and maybe not. But this freak out over things, or, helping the person that actually needs to go get the help themselves sometimes. This is really where we're going to have to start to draw a different understanding with Neptune and Aries, and with so much coming into Aries, the outer planets, of course. We've got Pluto and Aquarius. We're waiting for Uranus and Gemini to meet with now this Neptune Aries, and then we still got to wash away the Neptune Pisces transit at the end of this year and the Uranus and Taurus transit. So it's this to me is this understanding that you're not going to fulfill anything through this identity that is seeking wholeness. You have to find it within what you are and what you have already. you have everything that you need. It's more about what can you get off your plate that isn't worth the time, worth the energy, sucking your energy dry, or playing on your spiritual powers that really can be used in other areas that can be better. And a lot of this Uranus energy, of course, is about, taking our values to these higher places and not allowing ourselves to stay on the same level. We got to up our game by not the traditional way you would think of upping your game. You up your game by going, I know my value and I can compassionately understand, but I might not have the tool to help you with this, or I might not have the tool to be there, but I'm sure there's somebody else. You don't have to take on things that you don't necessarily have to, or you don't even have to feel bad about some of that stuff. There's always somebody in the collective there to pick up what you can't do, because the best thing that you could be doing right now is doing what you actually know and spiritually are called to, and actually have that talent and skill to do what is called to you, what is actually truly your vibe, right? So this is really more about fine-tuning in a very unique way. We do have the South Node in Virgo, so we can't get too caught up on how we fine-tune in the physical world, but more in that spiritual place. Your health is going to be determined where you are spiritually, where you are emotionally, spiritually. It's not going to be because, well, I ate that and that made me feel bad. You need to look at the subconscious hidden aspect of you have become into a pattern where you think every time you eat something, it's going to make you feel bad. Guess what? Maybe that's the problem. So this is a lot of more of that deep inner work, especially before, and I know it might sound crazy, this world's going to get louder and even more extroverted, and that's what we're moving into. A much more extroverted world. And we have to remember, these are these last moments to rebalance our lives and make sure that, we're aligned with the partners, the friendships, the people that really, it's not about, we're always on the same page, but that are willing to understand where you come from, and you're willing to understand where they come from. You're not going to agree on everything here. But it's about finding, where are those places that we do, and if it's really worth continuing down the same path or not. There's going to be a lot of relationships, new ones especially, that just are very Venus retrograde, that they have too much where it's like, is this good for me? If you're asking yourself that, or you're asking yourself man, there's so many weird things behind this that I have no idea, and I really don't know. Or things that just feel like it's pulling you off your spiritual path, that's when you have to wake up. And you're going to have to make a bigger and sometimes more difficult choice. This is Venus stationing on top of Saturn, and this Venus-Saturn we've had for about a week. We're going to have for another couple weeks. We also have that North Node in Saturn, which are about a degree away. So this is a time of extreme responsibility, and it's spiritual responsibility. It's also cutting out so much of the stuff that really is regurgitated in ourselves. This is letting go of the toxicities within ourselves. It's allowing for better things that are unseen to come. And so you want to be prepared in this moment for the future, and that future is always happening minute by minute, but it could be better and better the more that you're going, I don't need to be so connected to that anymore. It is a moment of letting go of things that really have tired themselves out, that really have utilized their purpose to their fullest, and honoring that and moving on. Making adjustments. So, for example, in your career, there's got to be a shift in some part, right? This is a Venus-Saturn conjunction with a Venus stationing direct with the full moon and a quincunx with Uranus, right? You've got to retool. You've got to try different ways. You've got to sometimes maybe come back to ways, but in a new way. I'm sure some people like that I'm outside. It was 13 years ago I started my horoscopes every day, right? Of course, I probably missed let's say 2 to 3 weeks out of 13 years, 21 days, but out of, I don't know, 300 times 12, that's 3,000, I don't know, it's 5,000 daily videos. I've missed 21. But people like me outside. Some people like me on green screen. Some people like me in this place or that place. And it's like, you can't please everyone. But what you can do is you can understand like what's good for you. That's what this Mars in Cancer, like what's good for you without it being so egotistical, but that actually works for you. Like right now, I had to do this on a Saturday right before it. I couldn't do it on my typical Friday because I have family. We have a baby shower for our son that's going to be born here in June. I had to put all the gear away. I did an awesome charity event helping elephants, 18 for elephants on Thursday, and brought all the gear and volunteered and did all the work. And, you know, it's like, okay, what works for me to be able to get out my message clear? And that's what's hard with this Mercury, of course, still in Pisces at its fall position. And yeah, Mars has been trying to help it out, but you got to be careful. It's like, this isn't about just belting out, like, I understand what I need right away. It's more like Pisces takes a long time to filter through things. And this Mercury is getting some of these last filtration stuff, and we're going to see our first Mercury-Neptune and Aries conjunction that follows this as we get and begin right after this weekend and this full moon and this Venus stationing direct and all planets direct. But I really think that this North Node Saturn, especially that Venus is on top, and we've had Mercury, but you know, this is really a big part of our lives now, is it's the world that we valued or the vision that we had of what it should look like is not what it's going to be and what it is either. We're having to surrender and allow ourselves to be more spiritually responsible. So we've all worked our asses off as light workers or spiritual people. It's time for us to really put in that energy of like, how do we take care of ourselves even better? How do we really get to a place to where we can understand that the responsibilities we have to be able to go, okay, what are the most important things? Because you can't get caught up in trying to do what Pisces can do, especially with Saturn here, is like, oh, I can do everything. And it's such a wide sign, and it deals with where the echo will never end. So you don't want to echo something so far that you're trying to do this and trying to do that, and you're trying to please that person, or you're trying to make this work. The problem is with Pluto and Aquarius, with the South Node in Virgo, people are trying to fix things that are broke and they're not going to be fixed. Or you might be trying to think there's something wrong with something that ain't broke and trying to fix something that ain't broke. I see that a lot right now, right? So, I think that this is a beautiful moment. It's the moment of the year in a sense of being able to really make big adjustments and changes. It's going to be the hardest of all time in our lives after the summer. But from now until May, especially the end of the Saturn Pisces, and we have to go through most of May till we get to Saturn ingressing into the 0 point Aries. We have to remember that, you know, this is the only moment we're going to have all planets direct here for real. And there's, in my book, some difficulty with it, with Venus that's stopped. I mean, Mars is faster than Venus. I mean, Saturn is faster than Venus right now. You know, you got to think that it's going to take some time to really get this thing going. And then it's right as it starts to get going, Pluto will retrograde. So, you know, we have to be smart with this Sun Chiron because we have Eris that I think it's just about to hit 25 degrees right now, and we have Chiron at 23 degrees. And after this full moon on Sunday, the sun comes at 24 degrees and sits right in between the midpoint of the Chiron and Eris conjunction. This is where people, if you're letting your ego ride fully and going, I know, it's like right now it's only really can be seen within somebody. So you can't judge somebody right now. But inside, you know, God's telling you, don't be in this relationship. Don't keep doing it this way. Don't keep doing this situation. Don't keep trying to push for this. This is not. And you do. It's like the Trojan horse you're building for yourself to come and think it's some gift that will eventually deliver, but it would be the opposite. It would be the gift that would literally take out your Achilles, you know? So I think that it's important for us to Remember that this is a deep soul searching time and finding a much more balanced place between your spiritual life and your physical life and getting that back into a nice rhythm. And also at the same time, when it comes to money, relationships, we're all having to make adjustments. And it might not be the most serious relationships, but that's the problem. If there's been relationships that have been unstable coming into this over the last 4 months, it's a no. The stuff that's been stable, don't even think about that because it's probably not on your radar because it's been stable. But the stuff that's like, God's trying to tell me something here in a weird way and there's something off. You can't be afraid to look after your nest, your soul self. Take care of yourself better with this Mars in Cancer. And with Saturn there being like, I don't want you to replay old patterns. So if it's like you're with the person that's exactly doing the same thing, that is exactly the same pattern that you've always seen, it's time to stop that shit. So let's take a look what card we got for this full moon here. Hold on. King of Pentacles. Is there a sugar daddy situation going on here? Hold on, man. I want to pull another card with this. Two of Wands. You know what? This is a moment where you already have the good values, and that's where it's about. It's not about what you're going after. Anything you're going after, cut it out. Especially to make you feel better. Because this Two of Wands is saying, like, what is the world that's worth going towards? And you have everything that you need to create it. It's nothing external that you need. It's more about that connection with God, that connection with your divine soul to spirit, and how well that's balanced out with also understanding the physical body that we are here. Part of this Sun-Chiron conjunction in opposition to this full moon is like, it's weird to be embodied in flesh as a human being this life, as an awakened being. It's about finding the balance in that and like maintaining to be outside, to enjoy that it's okay to be this person and then also do your spiritual work at the same time. If you're too much away from spirit or you're too much in spirit, there's a problem there too. So it's about finding that nice balance and rhythm. And you don't need to go get something or prove something because of what values you have right now. It's about contributing something good to the world and yourself. And that's where you can really see. But, you know, I always find it interesting, this Two of Wands in this one, is she's looking at all these windows of all the possibilities of which door or window she wants to go into. It's almost kind of like, do you really need to keep like looking around? Maybe surrender for a second and let God surprise you with the path. But it's when you start clearing things out and saying, I'm letting this pattern go, I'm letting these things go. And there's hidden mystery within that is more brighter and more beautiful in Pisces when we are not putting our ego to define what it should look like. If you can get your ego's, I need to have this, out of the way, God's got some beautiful hidden mysteries for you to uncover. But if you're going to put your ego first, or I'm going to fix this, I'm going to keep fixing it, well, then the hidden mystery of the craziness will reveal itself. I appreciate you all. Make sure that you join me on highvibe.tv. Truly appreciate all your support. Happy full moon to you all planets direct. And of course, you've made it through that Mars retrograde and that Venus retrograde. And I'm sending you the best for you and your family. Much love. We got a lot of volatile energy coming up here. as Mars is getting ready to come into Leo to oppose Pluto. So it's about to get loud. Use this moment to start to understand what drama do you not want to be part of that you could mitigate by just surrendering and saying, I'm letting this go now. Much love.
Monster.
Attention, please.
Yo. Okay.
Attention, please.